All right, what's going on, ladies? Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you're watching me, and welcome to this week's masterclass. As you can see by the title over here, it's opposites for me. The topic of today's masterclass is what to do when you keep on stumbling. So if you're someone who keeps attempting to make, life changes, you keep attempting to make, improvements within areas of your life, your health and your wellness, but you just keep on coming up against, these stumbling blocks, these challenges that you just can't move past, that you do not seem to have a solution to, then we're going to go ahead and discuss this on this week's masterclass. Okay, now if you are watching me live right now, I can see there's a handful of you watching me live right now. If you are, comment live down below. If you're watching me on the replay, like probably 99% of you will be, comment replay down below. So most of the time, our weekly masterclasses are mostly knowledge and educational based. Okay, and this is going to be both of those things, but it is also incredibly practical. Like, you've actually got to take action and do the things that I am actually just about to walk you through in order for you to get any benefit whatsoever. Otherwise, you may as well just hit cancel and not watch the rest of this 20-minute masterclass, because it's not going to help you. Okay, it's not going to help you. This is a practical process at which you've got to put yourself through when you feel like you are experiencing exactly like we just spoke about. Keep hitting that wall that you just can't get past, that yo-yo effect where you just keep on ending up back where you started. All right, now live. We've got loads of people commenting live down below. And again, if you're watching me on the replay, comment replay down below. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that you want to do when you're experiencing, these challenges, these obstacles, is you need to look at all of the specific moments where you didn't do what you wanted to do. Those specific moments where you intended to do something, but it just didn't happen. And what we want to do is we want to try and figure out exactly why, in a logical way. What was the specific roadblock? Why didn't you do what you wanted to do? Why didn't you do what you had intended to do? Whatever that intention or that goal was, why didn't it happen? Okay, that's the overall umbrella of situation that we're trying to unravel inside of this masterclass. And that involves reflecting upon, again, all of those specific moments where things didn't go to plan. And what do we do? So we can these challenges and obstacles can be broken down into three different areas. Okay, so let's go into those. The first would be environment. Was there anything in your environment, any temptations, any bad influences? Were there some cakes at work, for instance, a birthday cake at work, some treats? Were there cookies? It's Girl Scout cookie season right now. Were there cookies on the kitchen counter at work or at home? Did you forget your lunch? Was there something inside of your environment which almost, I guess you could say, sabotaged your decision making for that day? Because your environment is very important. You don't need to always be a more disciplined person. That's important, right? But you also need to have a more disciplined environment, a more controlled environment. Because if you've got a packet of Girl Scout cookies on the kitchen counter at home, let's say you walk past those Girl Scout cookies 100 times. Out of those 100 times, how many times do you reach for one of those Girl Scout cookies? Well, it's going to be a good few times, right? It could be 10, 20 times. This is all, we're all kind of speculating here. But if those cookies are there, you are going to reach for them. It's going to happen. Whereas if you remove that from your immediate environment, you're already not relying on just discipline to always be making the right decisions. Okay. So again, you don't always need to be a more disciplined person. You need to have a more disciplined environment. So was there again on that and that specific moment where you didn't do what you wanted to do, was there anything in your environment that tripped you over, got on your way, and created this challenge? Almost like we said, sabotaged that decision or your decision making at that specific time. If so, that's great. How can we change that? How can we adjust that? What can we do to gain better control around our environment? Because there will be something. There is always a solution. Okay, so that's one of the 3 areas in which I wanted to go through. Okay, when we're stuck, when we keep, stumbling, temptation, bad influences, your environment. Okay, next but not least is me, you, basically. Yeah, I'm saying this is you, not usual you, but you just in that moment. Okay, not usual you, but just you in that moment. Okay, were you tired? Were you stressed? Were you emotional? What was it about your mood state that served as an obstacle or a challenge in that specific moment? So again, not you normally, but you just in that moment. If you're tired, yeah, if you slept 5 hours every night for the last 3 nights, that's probably going to conjure a few bad decisions. A tired you is going to make poorer choices. A tired you is going to have a bigger appetite because lack of sleep leads to an increase in your hunger hormone. A tired you isn't going to want to go for a 10-minute walk on your lunch break. A tired you isn't going to do the normal things that normal you would do. So what's the solution there? It's rest. It's focusing on better bedtime habits. It's going to bed at the right time. It's limiting caffeine to after 3 p.m. Yeah, it's limiting liquids to after 8 p.m. So you don't have to, get up 3 times in the night. You only have to get up once. Okay, so what was it in that specific moment? Was it you, but just you in that moment? Assess these things. You've got to reflect. I said this was going to be practical. And what I mean by that is you've got to be able to reflect on these roadblocks in order for us to learn and get better. Now, were you stressed? Were you emotional? Were you reaching for food in that moment? If so, then we've got to look at other ways of managing that stress and emotion, breaking the connection between stress and food, because you're not an emotional eater. You are not a stress eater. That label, if you continue to use, will continue to define your identity and will continue to shape your actions. You are someone who in the past has had the tendency to reach for food when you're feeling stressed or emotional. 2 completely different things. One is identity shifting. It defines you. And the other one is just a thing that you often, the thing that you often struggle with, I guess you could say. But reaching for food when you're bored, stressed, or emotional is a learned behavior. No one is born a stress eater, an emotional eater. That's a learned behavior, which is learned at any point throughout your life. It's a habit, essentially. When you're young, you fall over, you're upset, so your parents give you a popsicle or a bit of candy. That's harmless in the moment. But what happens is, if that happens enough times, you build an association and a connection between being upset and reaching for food. And if that's been happening for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, that is going to be the natural, that's going to be the natural reaction. So you just need to break that over time. This is something that we work with. All of this entire structure that I'm walking you through is exactly what I do with the ladies that I coach. very often without them even knowing it. Okay, so the second kind of area which I wanted to go through in getting over these stumbling blocks is, what was it in that specific moment about you, not normal you, but just you in that moment? Okay, and last but not least, you just as a person, things that you are not good at yet. Yeah, just things you're not good at yet. It could be tracking what you eat inside my fitness bar for one example. It could be lack of self-worth, could be lack of confidence, because if you lack self-worth in yourself, do you think that you are going to respect and love yourself enough for you to make decisions which are entirely good for you? Of course not. Of course not. If you're struggling with negative self-worth, you are going to continue to sabotage and make poorer decisions, because that's how you feel about yourself. That is in line with those stories that you are telling yourself. Oh, I'm not worth it. What's wrong with me? I'm broken. I've messed up again. I can't do this. Do you think whilst you're telling yourself those stories that you are going to go and make the good decision? Of course you're not. Of course you're not. You're going to prove that inner voice correct by going and continuing to make poor choices. So over time, we've got to untangle those stories at which we tell ourselves, because they're not true. They're happening, but that doesn't mean they're true. Not all feelings are true. Again, they're happening, but they're not true. And in fact, most of the things that we feel, most of the stories that we tell ourselves are very, very far from true. Yet we enable these fictional stories to dictate how we feel about ourselves and everything else around us. And again, this is going to dictate everything at which you do. So if you keep on stumbling, keep on hitting these roadblocks, what is it about you right now in normal everyday life which is causing this cycle of making the poorer choice, the sabotage? We've really got to sit down and reflect on this. And I know it's not easy, it's not comfortable, but it's required. It's required. Because once you sit down and you go through these three areas, the environment, not usual you, but you in that moment, and you normal you in mostly everyday life. Once you reflect on those three areas and how that impacts the choices that you make, you can identify, what patterns there are, because there are going to be patterns. Okay, now there are going to be some challenges which are entirely out of your control. And if that's the case, forget about it. It doesn't matter. It's out of your control. Move on. But there are going to be lots of hurdles where you can intervene. There are going to be areas where you can make adjustments. There is always a solution. There is always a solution. And remember, this is really important. You cannot forget this, but anyone who isn't at their goal weight, anyone who hasn't achieved an A1C below 5.6 and achieved remission and got off meds, anyone who hasn't achieved their goal, their end goal, and maintained it, hasn't achieved that yet because of three reasons. They haven't got the knowledge, they haven't got the tools, and they're not the person that they need to be to get there yet. Okay, they haven't got the knowledge, they haven't got the tools, and they're not the person that they need to be to get there yet. And I cannot give you those things on a PDF to download. Those things have got to be learned firsthand. Yes, You learn by doing, and assessing these areas at which we've gone through today. That's going to be the crucial part of you learning, gaining the tools, gaining the knowledge, and becoming the person that you need to be in order to lose 20 to 100 pounds, lower your A1C, and achieve remission. Tripping, failing, stumbling is necessary. It is necessary. It's unavoidable, but it is also needed in order for you to actually achieve these goals, so that you can learn, so that you can gain the tools and gain the knowledge, so that you can become the person that you need to be. Okay. So again, the 3 areas that we went through above. Okay. When you feel like there's these actions, these intentions, these goals that you just keep hitting the wall with, think about the specific moments where that happens. Why didn't you do what you wanted to do? Was it your environment, something around you? Was it you in that moment? Not usual you, but you in that moment. Stressed, tired, emotional. Or what is it about just you right now that is causing these roadblocks? Is it just stuff that you're not good at yet? Stuff that you just need to keep doing? Is it that lack of self-worth or confidence? What is it that is stopping you right now? What is leading to you keep hitting that wall, tripping and stumbling? What can you learn? How can you get better? All right. Hope you found this helpful, ladies. It's a bit of a short one today. But like I said, this is incredibly. This is one of the most practical masterclasses that we've ever done. It's knowledge-based, it's educational, but it requires you to do. It requires you to sit down and get a little bit uncomfortable with yourself. Because I say get uncomfortable because it requires you to reflect upon things that you are not doing and why you are not doing it. And that's not easy. I know it's not, but it is required. And I really cannot stress that enough. All right. Cool. If you have found this helpful, comment helpful down below. I recommend that you watch this again, with a notepad, piece of paper, pause it as you're going through, identify some of these things that have been happening, over this, over the last few weeks, months, pause me as we go through and make those notes, things for you to then reflect on over these next few days so that we can learn, get better, so that we can become the person that we need to be. Okay. Let me catch up on some comments quick. So I can't see it on my computer. I've got to come onto my phone. All right. Connie, helpful. Mary, helpful. Heidi, helpful. Rhonda, helpful. Nice. Connie, I learned the hard way. Sent blood sugar skyrocketing. Not what I wanted, but dusting myself off and getting back up. Connie has been doing absolutely phenomenal, and she's, she doesn't work with us inside of our one-to-one coaching programs. She's just like you, ladies. She's here in the group. She's digesting these masterclasses. She's taking action on the things that we talk about. That's why Connie is doing so fantastic. She's achieving life-changing things just on this free content at which we put out, which is awesome. So Connie, give yourself a big pat on the back. All right. Lisa, awesome chat. Good to put this on words. Absolutely. Laura, helpful. Cindy, helpful. All right. And you ladies that are watching me on the replay, because there's over 5,000 of you inside this group now. So most of you ladies are going to be watching this on the replay. If you've got any questions, if you've got any concerns, anything that you want to ask me, put that down below. And of course, I'll do my best to answer that as soon as possible. All right, ladies. I'll wrap this up now. I don't want to make it, unnecessarily long. You ladies know how much I love to sit here and talk to you ladies, but I want to respect your time. So I'll wrap it up here. Again, any questions, any concerns, please do just let me know. If any of you ladies, would, like some extra support, if any of you would like to just, grab a coffee one morning, one afternoon, sit down and have a 5 to 10 minute chat on Zoom to see how I can help you on maybe a little bit of a closer level, then comment coaching down below and we can find a time. But this is just a chat, just like you would with a friend. That's all. All right. If you would like to take advantage of that, comment coaching down below and we'll find a time to suit. All right, ladies. Listen, have a fantastic day, whatever day it is that you're watching or listening to me, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Au revoir.